Sheeran does it. Adele does it. Even Elton John does it. And I do it too. We sing just like we're American, but we're not. So there's the age-old question. Why do British people, when they sing, sound like they're American? So there are a few theories around this. Some people, some experts, okay, we're going to quote experts throughout this, think that it goes back to a time when we Brits wanted to mimic America. So back in the early days of rock and roll, when you had the likes of Cliff Richard try to emulate what Elvis Presley was doing, he would adopt an American twang. But I don't think it's quite as simple as saying that necessarily, having looked into this a little more. The noted linguist, David Crystal, British linguist, he arrived at the idea that Brits aren't sort of knowingly trying to mimic an American accent when they sing. It's actually quite subconscious. But they do it because it's actually easier, perhaps, to sing with an American accent or a general American accent. You can get those vowel sounds out more broadly, I think, by doing it. And that's perhaps why it comes out that way. A lot of vowel sounds are more closed, I think, in British English. So if I say the word one, it doesn't lend itself to that sort of grander use of the mouth that would come with general American English, or that what they refer to as the neutral American voice, where it's more like one. American singers do it too. Obviously they sing with an American accent, but if you go to somebody, a singer from the Bronx, right? They're typically, unless they're trying to make a point, not going to sing with a Bronx accent. They themselves would sing with that sort of nightly news American voice. What I'm saying is everybody sings like Walter Cronkite would sing. It's very generic and neutral American. Now there are, of course, exceptions back home, the likes of Lily Allen and others that would sing with a Cockney accent, for example. So I think in answer to the question, there is a level of mimicry, but there is also a level of subconscious just playing its part and recognizing that once you've heard Elvis do it perfectly, you're not just trying to mimic him in order to appeal to the American market. You practice some of his songs, or you practice that style of music. It starts coming out that way because it's frankly just easier to sing in that regard. I think that's what I do. I can't speak for Elton John. He's not here, but I imagine that it's something similar for him. It has been noted that the Beatles, who, very early on with their first albums, certainly adopted American twangs when they sang. And that didn't totally go away, but there are certain instances later on in the late 60s, early 70s, and during their solo stuff, where parts of their Liverpool twang would come out. Certainly this happened on Maggie May, but it also would just come through in many of their other songs. That could have been a conscious effort to veer away from that American way of singing, because they didn't have to. But the fact remains, we are exposed, not in that way, to American music, and so I think it just enters your subconscious and comes out when you sing. I suppose it's become the neutral way of singing in the Western world, in the English-speaking world. So that, in a nutshell, is the explanation. Ed Sheeran does it. Adele does it. Even Elton John does it. And I do it too. We sing just like we're American, but we're not.